I woke up to the sound of diesel engines in my driveway. Not gentle humming, the deep, aggressive rumble that means heavy machinery. My bedroom window rattled. It was 6 a.m. I stumbled to the window, still in my pajamas, brain foggy with sleep. 3 bulldozers sat in Grandma Rose's driveway. My driveway now. Workers in hard hats were unloading equipment, setting up orange cones, moving with the efficiency of people who'd done this 100 times before. And there, standing in the middle of it all, clipboard in hand, was my Aunt Rachel. What the hell? I yanked on sweatpants and ran downstairs, my heart hammering. The beach house, Grandma's beach house that she'd left me 6 months ago, was about to be torn apart, and nobody had bothered to wake me up. I burst through the front door. The morning air was cold, salty. What's going on? Rachel, what are you doing? My aunt turned. She was dressed in designer jeans and a cashmere sweater, her silver hair perfectly styled despite the early hour. Her face was arranged in an expression of deep concern, the kind that looks practiced. You know that feeling when someone hugs you but their body is stiff? When the warmth doesn't reach their eyes? That's how Rachel approached me now, arms outstretched. Leah, sweetheart, I was just about to come get you. She wrapped me in a hug that felt like being squeezed by a mannequin. I know this is shocking, but we need to act fast. The house isn't safe. What are you talking about? I pulled away, looking at the workers, the machinery, the organized chaos in front of my grandmother's beautiful beach house, the house where I'd spent every summer as a kid. Where Grandma had taught me to bake, to paint, to watch the sunset and appreciate the quiet moments. Rachel's face crumpled with sympathy. It was impressive, really. The structural engineer completed his assessment yesterday. The foundation is critically compromised. The whole house could collapse any day now. She held up a thick folder. I have the permits right here. Emergency demolition order. I'm so sorry, honey, but we have to protect you. My hands started shaking. Nobody told me about any assessment. I tried calling you all week. Rachel's voice was so gentle, so understanding. I left messages. I was worried sick about you living here. The engineer said it's a miracle the house hasn't fallen into the ocean already. That was a lie. She hadn't called me once. But standing there in my pajamas, surrounded by construction workers and heavy equipment, with official-looking papers being waved in my face, I felt like I was going crazy. I want to see those reports. I reached for the folder. Rachel pulled it back slightly. Of course. But Leah, we don't have much time. I've scheduled the demolition to start in 1 hour. We need to get your things out first. 1 hour. To empty a house full of my grandmother's memories. A house that had been in our family for 40 years. This is insane, my voice cracked. Rachel, I can't. This doesn't make sense. She put her hand on my shoulder. Her nails were perfectly manicured, painted a soft pink. I know you're upset. I am too. Grandma Rose loved this house. We all did. But safety comes first. She opened the folder, showed me official-looking documents with stamps and signatures, engineering reports full of technical language I didn't understand, photos of cracks in the foundation that looked serious and scary. My chest felt tight. I'd been living here for 6 months. Had I been sleeping in a death trap? The neighbors, Rachel continued, her voice dropping to a confidential whisper. They've been calling me, Leah. They're concerned. They say you've been isolated, not taking care of the property. They're worried about you. There it was. The subtle shift from concern to judgment. The implication that I was the problem. Mrs. Chen from next door walked past with her dog, saw the commotion, and gave me a look that mixed pity with disapproval. Rachel had clearly been talking to people. I've been taking care of everything just fine, I said, but my voice sounded defensive even to my own ears. Of course you have, sweetheart. Rachel patted my arm. But grief does strange things to us. After my mother passed, you probably haven't been thinking clearly. That's why family steps in. That's why I'm here. I should tell you about Rachel before this goes any further. She's my dad's older sister, 56 years old, worked in real estate her whole life, one of those successful career women who always has an answer for everything. Growing up, she was the aunt who gave expensive gifts and showed up to family events in designer clothes, but never stayed long. Always had somewhere more important to be. Grandma Rose tolerated her, but I remember overhearing them argue once when I was 15. Something about money, something about Rachel always wanting more. I'd pushed it out of my mind. Family drama. Everyone has it. When Grandma died and left me the beach house, Rachel had seemed supportive, helped me with the paperwork, offered advice about maintaining an older property. I thought she was being kind. I thought I knew her. I was so wrong about that. I need to call my lawyer, I said, pulling out my phone. Absolutely. Rachel nodded vigorously. Smart thinking, but Leah, please understand. The permits are already approved. The demolition is happening today, whether we like it or not. The county declared this an emergency situation. The best thing we can do right now is salvage what we can. A worker approached Rachel, asked something about the timeline. She excused herself, walked over to the Bulldozers, all business and efficiency. I called my boyfriend, Marcus. He'd stayed at his place last night after we'd had a stupid argument about whether I was spending too much time at the beach house. He answered on the fourth ring, voice thick with sleep. Leah, it's 6 a.m. There are bulldozers here. Rachel says the house is being demolished. She has permits. Wait, what? Slow down. Marcus, I need you to come here. Now, please. He was quiet for a moment. Did you know about the structural problems? My blood went cold. What structural problems? Rachel called me yesterday. She was worried about you. Said the house was falling apart and you were in denial about it. His tone was cautious, like he was talking to someone unstable. She said she'd been trying to get through to you, but you weren't listening. She never called me. Leah. That voice. That careful, patient voice people use when they think you're losing it. I love you, but maybe Rachel's right. Maybe you're too emotionally attached to this place. She knows real estate. If she says the house is dangerous. I hung up. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely hold the phone. Marcus believed her. My own boyfriend believed her over me. Rachel came back, her face sympathetic. Everything okay? I want to see the actual engineering report, not just photos. I want the engineer's contact information. Of course. She flipped through the folder, pulled out a business card. Mitchell Engineering. Though I should warn you, they're booked solid. That's why we had to move so quickly on this. They flagged it as an emergency situation. The card looked legitimate. Everything Rachel was showing me looked legitimate. That's what made it so terrifying. She'd thought of everything. 1 hour, Rachel said softly. Then the crew starts work. I'm so sorry, honey. I know how much this place meant to you. It meant a lot to all of us. Her eyes actually welled up with tears. But we have to let it go. I walked back into the house in a daze. The kitchen where Grandma had taught me to make her famous blueberry pie. The living room where we'd watched old movies on rainy afternoons. The back porch where she'd told me stories about my grandfather, about growing up on this coast, about the history soaked into every weathered board. 1 hour to pack up a lifetime. I started grabbing things randomly. Photo albums, Grandma's jewelry box, her favorite blanket. My vision was blurry. Was I crying? I couldn't tell. That's when I noticed something odd. The kitchen tiles near the stove were slightly elevated, just a tiny bit. I'd stubbed my toe on them a few times, kept meaning to fix them. But now, looking closer, I could see the grout was cracked in a perfect rectangle, like someone had pried them up and put them back. I knelt down, ran my fingers along the edge. One of the tiles lifted easily. Underneath was a small metal safe, built into the floor. My heart stopped. I'd lived here 6 months and never knew this existed. The safe had a combination lock, old and worn. I tried Grandma's birthday. Nothing. Her anniversary. Nothing. I tried my birthday, thinking maybe she'd... Click. The safe opened. Inside was a USB drive, a stack of letters tied with string, and an official-looking document. I pulled out the document first. It was the property deed. But there was something attached to it, an addendum I'd never seen before. A codicil about Mineral Rights Assessment 2024. Mineral rights? Grandma's beach house had mineral rights worth assessing? I grabbed the USB drive, shoved everything into my backpack. Outside, I could hear Rachel talking to the workers, her voice carrying through the walls. Yes, everything needs to go. Complete demolition, foundation to roofline. That's when the front door opened. My cousin James walked in. Rachel's son. 32, worked in construction management. We'd been close as kids, drifted apart as adults. The last time I'd seen him was at Grandma's funeral, where he'd barely spoken to me. "James, what are you doing here?" He looked terrible, dark circles under his eyes. His hands were shaking. "I can't do this anymore." His voice was hoarse. "Leia, I need to tell you something." I stood up, the backpack hanging from one shoulder. "Tell me what?" "The engineering reports. They're fake. Mom had me forge them." The words came out in a rush, like he'd been holding them in for too long. "She paid me, promised me $500,000 to testify that this house was always falling apart, to say Grandma complained about cracks in the foundation, to back up her story." The room tilted. I gripped the counter to stay upright. "What?" "There's nothing wrong with the house." James looked at me and I saw genuine guilt in his eyes. Mom filed an emergency demolition order using fake photos, fake reports, fake everything. She needed it to look official, needed everyone to believe her. Why? The word came out as a whisper. "I don't know. She wouldn't tell me. Just said it was important. Said we'd both be rich. Said, 'James!'" Rachel's voice, sharp as glass, cut through from outside. "What are you doing in there?" James flinched. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I thought she was just trying to protect the family's interests or something. I didn't realize." He backed toward the door. "I can't be part of this anymore. I can't." He practically ran out. I stood there, the USB drive in my pocket, Grandma's hidden documents in my backpack, and the truth settling over me like ice water. Rachel wasn't trying to protect me. She was trying to destroy the house before I found out what was really underneath it. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. 30 minutes, sweetheart. Please finish packing. I know this is hard, but it's for the best." I looked out the window. Rachel was talking to the foreman now, gesturing at the house. James was climbing into his truck, parking it across the driveway, blocking the exit. Whatever was on that USB drive, whatever those mineral rights meant, Rachel would kill this house to keep me from finding out. I had 30 minutes. Should I have seen this coming? Maybe. Probably. But when someone you've known your whole life looks you in the eye and lies with such perfect sincerity, you want to believe them. You need to believe them. Now I knew better. Now I just needed to survive long enough to prove it. I locked myself in the bathroom and pulled out my laptop. My hands were shaking so hard it took 3 tries to plug in the USB drive. Outside, I could hear Rachel's voice getting closer. "Leia, honey, how's the packing going?" The USB opened, one folder. Inside, a PDF labeled Geological Survey, Confidential, July 2023. I clicked it open. The first page made my breath catch. Lithium Deposits Analysis, Beachfront Property, 47 Ocean Drive. That was this address, Grandma's address. I scrolled through pages of technical data I barely understood. Diagrams, mineral composition charts, and then, on page 17, a summary in plain English. Preliminary assessment indicates rare lithium deposits of exceptional purity beneath subject property. Estimated market value, $42 million. Recommend immediate extraction negotiations. $40 million underneath my grandmother's house. I kept scrolling. Email chains. Rachel's email address jumped out at me from dozens of messages dating back 2 years. 2 years. She'd known about this for 2 years. "Just waiting for the old woman to die," Rachel had written to someone named David Chin, CEO of Coastal Mining Corp. "Property will pass to my incompetent niece. Easy to manipulate or buy out. She'll never know what she's sitting on." My vision blurred. Not from tears. From rage. "Leia?" Rachel's voice was right outside the bathroom door now. "We need to start moving things out. The crew is ready to begin." "Just a minute," I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. I kept reading. More emails, Rachel planning every detail. befriending the geologist who'd done the original survey, paying him to keep quiet, making sure no one filed the mineral rights assessment with the county, ensuring Grandma never saw the letters that would have told her what was under her beloved home. And then, 3 months before Grandma died, this email from Rachel to the geologist. She's getting sicker. Won't be long now. Keep everything buried until the property transfers. Then we move fast. I was going to be sick. Leia. Rachel's voice turned sharp. Open the door, now! I shoved the laptop in my backpack, flushed the toilet for show, and opened the door. Rachel stood there, her expression hard. The concerned ant mask had slipped slightly. What were you doing in there? Packing Grandma's medicine cabinet, some of her things. The foreman needs to start in 20 minutes. She looked past me into the bathroom, eyes scanning. We need to clear the house completely. I pushed past her, heading for the front door. I needed to get to my car, get to a lawyer, get these files to someone who could help. Rachel followed me. Where are you going? To get boxes from my car. James can get boxes. You stay here. I'll help you pack. Her hand landed on my shoulder, gripped tight. We do this together. Family. The word made me want to scream. My phone rang. I pulled it out, a number I didn't recognize. I answered anyway, desperate for any interruption. Is this Leia Morrison? A man's voice, professional. Yes. This is Officer Bradford, County Sheriff's Department. I'm responding to a call about a disturbance at 47 Ocean Drive. I looked at Rachel. Her face was sympathetic again, concerned. She'd called the police on me, in my own house. There's no disturbance, I said carefully. There's been a misunderstanding about a demolition. Ma'am, I'm pulling up now. Please wait outside. He hung up. 2 minutes later, a sheriff's cruiser parked behind the Bulldozers. Officer Bradford was in his 50s, the kind of cop who'd seen everything and wasn't impressed by much. Rachel met him at his car, that folder of fake documents already in her hands. I watched from the porch as she showed him the permits, the engineering reports, the photos of non-existent foundation cracks. Her face was arranged in perfect concern. She touched his arm, lowered her voice. I couldn't hear what she was saying, but I saw him nod. Saw him look at me with that expression cops get when they think they're dealing with someone unstable. They walked over together. Ms. Morrison, Officer Bradford said, his tone measured. Your aunt has shown me the emergency demolition permits issued by the county. Everything appears to be in order. It's fake, all of it. She's trying to steal— I know this is difficult, he interrupted, using that same careful voice Marcus had used. Losing a family home is traumatic, but the permits are legitimate. The county has declared this structure unsafe. If you interfere with this demolition, you'll be charged with obstruction. Rachel put her hand over her heart. Officer, I think my niece is having a breakdown. She's been under so much stress since her grandmother passed. The grief, the isolation. I'm worried about her mental state. I'm not having a breakdown, my voice cracked. She's lying. The house is fine. She forged those reports. Officer Bradford's expression shifted from patient to wary. Ma'am, I need you to calm down. I have proof. I reached for my backpack. Bradford's hand moved to his belt. Keep your hands where I can see them. I froze. This was insane. I was the victim here. I was the one being robbed. But to everyone watching, I looked like the unstable one, the difficult one, the one who couldn't accept reality. Rachel had orchestrated this perfectly. I'm going inside to get my things, I said slowly, carefully. That's all, just my personal belongings. Bradford nodded. You have 1 hour. After that, the demolition proceeds. I went back inside, my whole body shaking. The USB drive was in my pocket. The documents were in my backpack. I had evidence. I just needed someone to believe me. I tried calling Marcus again. Voicemail. I tried my parents. They were on vacation in Europe, probably had their phones off. I tried my college roommate, my best friend from high school. Anyone who might answer at 6:30 in the morning. No one picked up. I was completely alone. That's when I remembered the password on the USB drive. I'd used Grandma's birthday, August 3rd. That had worked. But there'd been other files on the drive I hadn't opened yet, protected files. I opened the laptop again, clicked on a folder labeled Insurance. Password protected. I tried Grandma's birthday again. Wrong. Her wedding anniversary. Wrong. My birthday. Wrong. Think, Leia. What would Grandma use? And then I remembered something she used to say when I was little, whenever I'd scrape my knee or fail a test or get my heart broken. Remember, sweetheart, the truth always comes to light. Always. The truth comes to light. I typed, truth. The folder opened. Inside were dozens of files. Video files. I clicked the first one. Grandma's face filled the screen. She was sitting in her favorite chair, the ocean visible through the window behind her. The timestamp said this was recorded 1 week before she died. If you're watching this, Leia, then I'm gone. And I'm guessing Rachel has made her move. Grandma's voice was weak but clear. I need you to know something, sweetheart. Your aunt has been waiting for me to die. She's known about the lithium deposits under this house for 2 years. She's been planning to steal them, to steal your inheritance. My hands covered my mouth. I found out by accident, Grandma continued. The geologist, Dr. Ethan Clark, he came to me 6 months ago. His conscience was eating at him. Rachel had paid him to hide the survey results, to keep them from being filed with the county. She wanted to wait until after I passed, so she could manipulate you into selling cheap or demolish the house before you knew what you had. The video cut to another clip. Grandma was holding papers now. I've documented everything, the emails, the payments Rachel made to Dr. Clark, the fake engineering reports she had created months in advance. She's been planning this for so long, Leia, the vulture circling my deathbed. Grandma's face crumpled slightly, and for the first time, I saw how much this had hurt her. Finding out her own daughter was counting down the days until she died. Don't let her win, Grandma whispered. Don't let her destroy what I'm leaving you, this house, this property. It's your future, your security. Fight for it, sweetheart. Fight like hell. The video ended. I sat there, tears streaming down my face, Grandma's words echoing in my head. Outside, I heard the bulldozers starting up, the deep rumble that had woken me this morning. Rachel knocked on the door. Leia, time's up. We need to clear the house now. I looked around Grandma's kitchen one last time, at the spot where the tiles had hidden her safe, at the window where she'd stood so many mornings, watching the sunrise. I had proof now, video proof, email proof, geological surveys and mineral rights documentation. But I also had bulldozers in my driveway, a sheriff who thought I was unstable, a family that had been turned against me, and an aunt who'd spent 2 years building an airtight case for why this house needed to be destroyed. The door opened. Rachel stood there, and for just a second her mask slipped completely. I saw the real her, cold, calculating, triumphant. It's over, Leia, she said softly. Let it go. Behind her, James was climbing into his bulldozer. He wouldn't look at me. The foreman was signaling to the crew. Officer Bradford was still in his car, watching to make sure I didn't cause trouble. I had Grandma's evidence. I had the truth. But Rachel had everything else? Can you still win when everyone thinks you're losing? When the authorities are on the wrong side? When your own family has been turned against you? I was about to find out, because I wasn't letting go. Not of Grandma's house, not of my inheritance, and definitely not of the truth. This was just the beginning. I walked out with my backpack and laptop bag, looking defeated. Rachel smiled, not the fake sympathetic smile she'd been using, but a real smile. A winner's smile. Smart choice, sweetheart, she said. This is for the best. You'll see. I got in my car without answering. James blocked the driveway with his truck, so I had to park on the street. I could see Rachel giving final instructions to the foreman, pointing at the house, my grandmother's house, signing papers. I drove 3 blocks and pulled over. My hands were shaking too badly to keep driving safely. Then I opened my laptop and started making calls. First, I found an environmental lawyer who'd worked on mining rights cases, Holly Chen. Her voicemail said she specialized in mineral rights disputes and fraudulent property claims. I left a message explaining everything, sent her the USB files, told her I'd pay whatever her rates were. Then I found Dr. Ethan Clark's contact information in Grandma's emails. the geologist whose conscience had led him to confess to Grandma before she died. I called his number. "This is Dr. Clark," he answered, sounding elderly and tired. "Dr. Clark, my name is Leah Morrison. Rose Morrison was my grandmother." Silence. "I know about the lithium deposits. I know Rachel paid you to hide them. I have my grandmother's video testimony. I need you to—" "I can't help you." His voice was strained. "Please don't call this number again." "Dr. Clark." He hung up. I tried calling back. It went straight to voicemail. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Stop making calls. Stop trying to fight this, or your boyfriend has an accident. We know where he lives." I stared at the message, ice spreading through my veins. They were threatening Marcus. Rachel was threatening Marcus. I called him immediately. "Marcus, don't go anywhere. Stay inside. Lock your doors." "Leah?" "What are you talking about?" "Rachel. She's dangerous. She just threatened you. Please, just stay home until—" "Leah." His voice was gentle but firm. "I just got off the phone with your dad. He called from Madrid. Rachel reached out to him, worried about you. He said you've been under a lot of stress, that maybe you need to talk to someone, a professional." My dad thought I was crazy. Rachel had gotten to him too. "Marcus, I'm not crazy. I have proof. I think we need to take a break," he said quietly. "I love you, but I can't be with someone who won't get help when they need it." Rachel showed me the engineering reports. "The house was falling apart, Leah. You were living in a dangerous building and refusing to see it." "Those reports are fake." "I'm sorry," he said. "I really am, but I can't do this right now." He hung up. I sat there in my car, parked on a random street 3 blocks from my grandmother's house, and felt everything crumbling around me. My boyfriend didn't believe me. My parents didn't believe me. The police didn't believe me. The geologist wouldn't testify. And in 2 hours, Grandma's house would be rubble. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, expecting another threat. "Ms. Morrison? This is Holly Chen, the attorney. I got your message and reviewed your files." Her voice was brisk, professional. "This is one of the most clear-cut cases of fraud I've seen. We can stop this demolition. I'm filing for an emergency injunction right now." Relief flooded through me. "Thank you. Thank you so much." "Don't thank me yet. We're fighting the clock. I need you to send me everything you have. Every document, every video, every email. And I need Dr. Clark to testify." He hung up on me. He said he couldn't help. Then we find out why. People don't refuse to testify in fraud cases unless someone's threatening them. I'll make some calls. Meet me at my office in 1 hour. We're going to war. I hung up feeling something I hadn't felt since I woke up this morning. Hope. Maybe this wasn't over. Maybe I could still fight. Holly's office was in a building overlooking the harbor. She was younger than I'd expected. Mid-30s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. She had all my files spread across her conference table. "Your grandmother was smart," Holly said, scanning through the documents. "She built an airtight case, video testimony, authenticated emails, geological surveys with official seals. This is textbook fraud. Can we stop the demolition?" "I've filed for an emergency injunction. Judge Martinez is reviewing it now. We should hear back within the hour." She looked at me seriously. "But Leah, I need you to understand something. Your aunt has been planning this for years. She'll have contingencies, backup plans, and she's already turned your family and local law enforcement against you. What do? We make her think she's winning. Then we hit her with everything when she least expects it." Holly pulled up something on her laptop. "I found Dr. Clark's daughter, Sarah Clark. She lives in Portland. I'm flying up tomorrow to talk to her. If Rachel threatened her father, Sarah needs to know. What about the injunction? If Judge Martinez grants it, the demolition stops for 72 hours. That gives us time to gather more evidence, depose witnesses, build our case." Holly met my eyes. "But Rachel will fight back. Hard. You need to be prepared for this to get ugly." "It's already ugly." "It's going to get worse." My phone buzzed. Holly Chen, not the lawyer Holly, the mining company CEO Holly had mentioned in the emails. The text was brief. "Heard about the injunction. Demolition on hold. For now." The word spread fast. 2 hours later, Holly the lawyer called. We got the injunction, 72 hours. No demolition until Thursday at dawn. I actually cried with relief. But when I drove back to the house, my relief evaporated. Rachel was waiting on the porch, perfectly composed. Behind her, James was packing up his tools, avoiding my eyes. The bulldozers were still there, just idling now instead of tearing into my grandmother's home. Leah. Rachel's voice was sad, disappointed. Why are you doing this? You know why? I'm trying to protect you from yourself, from a dangerous property, from making mistakes you'll regret. She walked down the porch steps. But if you want to play lawyer games, fine. We'll play. She pulled out her phone, showed me something, a new geological report, dated yesterday. Updated assessment from Coastal Mining Corp. The lithium deposits they thought they found? Preliminary only. Further testing shows they're worthless. Trace amounts. Nothing commercially viable. My stomach dropped. That's fake. No, sweetheart. The first report was fake. A scam by a desperate old geologist trying to drum up business. Dr. Clark has already recanted his findings. Admitted he exaggerated the data to try to get a consulting contract. Rachel's smile was gentle, pitying. You hired a lawyer based on false information. That's why I was trying to spare you this embarrassment. Dr. Clark would never... Dr. Clark is 76 years old and suffering from early-stage dementia. His family is very concerned about him making reliable assessments. Rachel tucked her phone away. The injunction buys you 72 hours. After that, this house comes down, and you'll have legal fees to pay for nothing. She walked to her car, paused at the door. I love you, Leah. When you're ready to accept help, I'm here. Always. She drove away, leaving me standing in front of a house I'd saved for exactly 3 days. I called Holly immediately. She has a new geological report saying the deposits are worthless. And she says Dr. Clark recanted. Silence on the other end. Then, I'll look into it. Don't panic. Don't panic? She's 3 steps ahead of us. That's what she wants you to think. Holly's voice was steady. Meet me tomorrow at 9 a.m. We're going to Portland. We're talking to Dr. Clark's daughter, and we're finding out what Rachel's really threatening them with. That night, I stayed in a hotel. I couldn't face being in Grandma's house, knowing it was temporarily saved, but probably still doomed. I couldn't face the memories, couldn't face the evidence of how thoroughly Rachel had outmaneuvered me. I lay in bed scrolling through the video files Grandma had left, watching her face, hearing her voice. Don't let her win, Grandma whispered from beyond the grave. Fight like hell. I wanted to. God, I wanted to. But Rachel had money, connections, fake documents, and a family that believed her over me. She had law enforcement on her side. She had my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend now, convinced I was unstable. What did I have? A 72-hour injunction and a lawyer I couldn't afford to pay for more than a week. My phone buzzed. Another text from the unknown number. Stop fighting. Last warning. I looked at it for a long time. Then I turned off my phone and tried to sleep. Tomorrow, I'd fly to Portland. I'd find Dr. Clark's daughter. I'd keep fighting. But tonight, just for tonight, I let myself admit the truth. I was losing, and I didn't know how to win. Have you ever fought a battle where everyone thinks you're the villain? Where the truth is on your side, but nobody believes you? That's where I was. And honestly, I'm still not sure if I made it out. The plane to Portland left at 6 a.m. Holly met me at the airport, 2 coffees in hand. She looked like she hadn't slept either. Dr. Clark's daughter agreed to see us, she said as we boarded. But she was scared. I could hear it in her voice. Scared of what? That's what we're going to find out. Sarah Clark lived in a modest house in a quiet Portland suburb. She answered the door with a baby on her hip and a toddler clinging to her leg. She looked exhausted and terrified. Come in, she said quietly. But you need to leave by noon, before my husband gets home. He can't know you were here. We sat in her living room while her kids played with blocks on the floor. Sarah kept glancing at the windows like she expected someone to be watching. Your father came to my grandmother before she died, I said gently. He told her about the lithium deposits, about Rachel paying him to hide them. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I know. He called me after that meeting. Said he couldn't live with himself anymore. Said he'd done something terrible for money and needed to make it right. Will he testify? He can't. Sarah wiped her eyes. 2 weeks after he talked to your grandmother, someone broke into his house. Didn't steal anything. Just left a photo on his kitchen table, a photo of my daughters at their daycare, with a note. Beautiful children. Would be a shame if something happened to them. The room went cold. Dad called me panicking. He was terrified. I told him to go to the police, but he said whoever left that photo had connections, that they'd know if he talked. Sarah looked at me with desperate eyes. My children, Ms. Morrison. I have to protect my children. Holly leaned forward. Do you have the photo? The note? Dad burned them. He was scared to even keep them as evidence. Would your father be willing to testify if we guaranteed protection? No. Sarah's voice was firm. I've already lost enough sleep over this. I won't risk my daughter's lives. I'm sorry for what happened to you, but I can't help. We flew back to California empty-handed. Rachel's threatening families, I said in the airport terminal. Children? How do we fight that? Holly was quiet for a long time. We build a case so strong she can't threaten her way out of it. We find every piece of evidence, every witness, every document. We make it public enough that silencing anyone becomes too risky. In 48 hours? In 48 hours. The next day, everything got worse. I woke up to 17 missed calls from my dad. When I called back, he was furious. Rachel told me you've been harassing Dr. Clark's family, flying across the country to threaten them. Leah, what the hell is wrong with you? That's not what happened. Dad, I was trying to… Your mother and I are cutting our trip short. We're flying home tomorrow. You need help, honey. Professional help. Rachel's been telling us about your behavior, and we didn't want to believe it, but this is too much. Dad, please listen to me. We love you, but right now you're not thinking clearly. Rachel's been so patient with you, trying to protect you from yourself. The least you can do is stop making this harder on everyone. He hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone, realizing Rachel had turned even my parents against me, my own parents. Then Holly called. We have a problem. The judge who granted our injunction? He just recused himself from the case. Conflict of interest? Apparently he went to college with someone at Coastal Mining Corp. The case is being reassigned. Is that bad? It means our 72 hours just became 48. Maybe less. The new judge might not honor the injunction at all. I drove to Grandma's house that afternoon, just to walk through it, to remember, to say goodbye, probably. Rachel's car was in the driveway. I found her in the kitchen, going through Grandma's things, packing them into boxes like she had every right to be there. What are you doing? She looked up, not even surprised to see me. Salvaging what I can before the demolition. These are family heirlooms, Leah. They belong to all of us. Get out of my house. It's not your house for much longer. Rachel carefully wrapped one of Grandma's teacups in newspaper. The new judge is reviewing your injunction. His clerk called me this morning. Off the record, he thinks your case is frivolous. Expects to lift the injunction by tomorrow. My chest felt tight. How did you… The clerk is married to my real estate partner. Rachel smiled. See, that's the difference between us, sweetheart. I plan ahead. I build relationships. I make sure the people who matter are on my side. You can't keep threatening people. Threatening? Rachel's eyes widened innocently. I haven't threatened anyone. I've simply made people aware of certain concerns. Dr. Clark's cognitive decline, his daughter's vulnerable family situation. Your increasingly erratic behavior. She set down the teacup, looked at me with something almost like pity. You're fighting ghosts, Leah. There's no conspiracy. Just a dangerous house and a grieving young woman who can't accept reality. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to make her admit what she'd done. Instead, I pulled out my phone and started recording. For the record, I said clearly, you're admitting you've been coordinating with the new judge's office. that you have inside information about a sealed case." Rachel's expression didn't change. She just reached over and calmly pushed my phone down. "No one will believe you," she said softly. "They'll think you edited it, or took me out of context. That's what happens when you've already been labeled unstable." She picked up another teacup. "The demolition resumes Thursday at dawn. I suggest you spend tomorrow making peace with that." She walked past me, carrying a box of Grandma's things. I stood in the empty kitchen, in the house my grandmother had loved, and felt the fight draining out of me. Rachel was right. I was losing. No, I'd already lost. My phone buzzed. "Holly. Judge lifting injunction tomorrow morning. Demolition back on for Thursday. I'm sorry." I looked around at the kitchen one last time, at the tiles where Grandma had hidden her evidence, at the window where she'd watched so many sunrises, at the home she'd wanted me to have, at the legacy Rachel was going to demolish in less than 24 hours. Maybe I should surrender. Maybe I should take whatever Rachel offered for the property and walk away. Cut my losses. Save what was left of my sanity and my relationships. Maybe that's what a smart person would do. But then I remembered Grandma's face in that video, her voice saying, "Don't let her win. Fight like hell." And I realized something. Rachel had made one mistake in her perfect plan. She'd assumed I'd fight fair. Time to stop playing by rules that only I was following. Will anyone believe the truth when it finally comes out? Or will I become just another cautionary tale about grief and paranoia? Stay with me, because what happens next changes everything.